All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Casper, and I'm a government records archivist with the South Dakota State Archives, and I'd like to welcome you to our online office hours. We had a great response last week. Thank you for everyone who tuned in to hear Matthew's talk about donating items to the archives. If you missed it, oh, wait a second. Looks like I'm having issues. Oh, man. Oh. Sorry, guys. It looks like I'm having some technical difficulties here. One moment, please, while I try and figure this out. It looks like they're having trouble playing the video. Can anybody actually hear and see me here? Okay, well, let me see if I can figure out what's going on. Maybe I can. Cancel that. Is that any better? Yes. Oh, good. Excellent. I'm so glad. Okay. So, welcome to the South Dakota State Archives online office hours. This is how we know we're live. It's when we have technical difficulties. Let's see here. Yes. So, again, we had a great response last week. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. If you missed it or want to see any of our previous recordings, they are available on our Facebook page under live or under videos. So you can check that out. We also have a brand new YouTube account, which I just created today, or not today, but a couple days ago. You can see it here on the screen behind me. So definitely go check that out, like and subscribe and all of that. This video will also go up there eventually here, so it should be good. Now, today, I'm going to do a little bit of a digital archive show and tell, but as always, if you have questions as we go along, please type them into the comments or the chat sort of area next to the screen. Nicole is here. She's going to help me answer questions, and I'll try and check in periodically to make sure that I catch those. There is a little bit of a delay here between me speaking and it getting put on Facebook as well, I know. So if I'm not quick to respond, that's why. But hopefully we'll still make sure that all of your questions are answered. And hello to you too, Mark, from Louisiana. That's awesome. That's cool that we get people from all across the country listening in. So first, I would like to remind everybody that we do have a COVID-19 documentation project going on right now. Let me see here. Yeah, so you can get there from the archives website. Just click this Telling Your Story, Documenting COVID-19 in South Dakota. We're trying to make sure that we capture people's stories of what life is like now, how you and your family are experiencing the pandemic. So we've had some great donations so far, some photos. We've had some cool videos lately that people have donated. We would love to have more. So if you could go to the site and submit your materials, we would definitely appreciate receiving those. We also have a brand new infographic that I created that talks about, it's aimed at businesses and government agencies, but it's to try and help them understand which COVID-19 related records they should preserve. So you can click here. It's just a fun sort of rack card that you can look through and print out, share with the people that you think should have this information. So definitely something to check out. Yes. All right. So, let's go ahead and talk the South Dakota Digital Archives. So to get to the Digital Archives page, you click this first link up here. It takes you to our site. Now, the South Dakota Digital Archives is our online repository for digitized content, so that means items that have actually been scanned from our collections. So unlike a lot of the sort of indexes and things that we have on our website, here you can actually see the materials and search through them and look at the original handwriting and all of that fun stuff. So the Digital Archives it's existed in a couple different forms. It first went online in 2008 when it was just our photo collection. It was part of the Heritage West website, and then that eventually went away, and so we created our own digital archives, the South Dakota Digital Archives, just like you see here. And that was in 2012. So we've been online for a while now. As I mentioned in our first office hours, it takes a lot of time and money to properly digitize and catalog archival materials. Plus, we pay a hosting fee based on the amount of content that we've uploaded. So we have to be very selective about what we put online. We give priority to high-use collections, or collections that are deteriorating, like glass plate negatives are a good example of that. Sometimes the emulsion starts to peel away from the glass, so we really want to capture those images before the image disappears. So those sometimes get a higher priority in the scanning queue than other materials. So there's a lot of audiovisual materials that end up being higher priority. We try to digitize one film a year for similar reasons, just because they deteriorate so quickly, and we really want to make sure that we preserve the content of those. So we do a lot of that. A lot of our digitization efforts are funded by grants as well, so sometimes that determines the content that we can make available. If we can get a grant for something, that is what we are going to digitize. Not necessarily, even if there are other materials that might be just as worthy. We'll digitize what we can get money to digitize. So we have 2 digitization staff members who work full-time to scan and catalog. They started out with just the photograph collections. In the last couple years, they've sort of expanded to maps, which is very exciting for us. They're funded entirely by grants and private donations. So if you would like to support the Digital Archives and our project and help keep us online, we have this handy-dandy donate button here. So do by all we would certainly appreciate your assistance. So let me take a second and see if any questions have popped up while I've been chatting away. No? Excellent. Okay. We can continue on. So our largest collection right now is the photo collection, right here. Let me see. Photo collection. There's a few very well represented topics here because we've received a lot of grants. If you're looking for images of the Black Hills, of towns, of any buildings, this is a fantastic resource for you. There's also so many animal photos. People have always loved their pets in any generation, and there's lots and lots of photos that document that. I'm always kind of surprised at what I will find in the photo collection. There's some photos on all different topics. It's definitely worth a shot if you're looking for digital photos to take a look here first to see what you can find. Now, how you do a search up here in the search bar, it's actually pretty easy. You just type in what you're looking for. You can also do an advanced search where you can search specific fields. So like if you knew the creator of a particular photo, you could search for that. But in this case, we're just going to do a basic search. I'm going to search for Hawken Homestead. Now, your search results will be listed here with a little thumbnail so you can kind of get a preview of what the photo looks like. If you find one that looks interesting, like I am very interested in this early women homesteaders photo, you can click into it and it'll take you to the entry for that photo. So up here above, you can see the image. If you want to get a closer look at some of the faces and everything, you can click this expand, these two little expand arrows. And it'll let you really, if say you want to really zoom in on this little girl, you can get really close and check out her fun expression. Now down below the photo, we've got our title. There's a bunch of subject headings. These are some of the things that you search when you do a search up here in the search bar. There's a description of the photo that will include, if we know it, it'll include the names of the people, the places where the photo was taken, names of the photographer, dates. Unfortunately, a lot of the photos in the archives aren't identified, and so some of this information is limited, but we do provide whatever it is that we have available. So that also reminds me that if you happen to come across a photo where you know the names of the women, like for instance, if you happen to know that this woman here is your great-grandmother or something, and you know the names of any of the other people involved, by all means, please send us that information. We would love to be able to add it to our records and just make them more useful for people. The same goes for if you donate collections to an archives. Please try and make sure that you have as much information about the photographs that you donate with the photos as possible, because it really does make our lives easier. And makes it easier for future researchers as well. Now, every photo has a unique identifier number. So, if you go here, you can see it right there. That connects the original digital file that we have, our master file and storage, with the images that are up online. So if you want to request a high-resolution image of the photo for use like in a book or a publication, or because you want a really nice printed framed copy to go on your wall, you could do that, and that identifier number right there is your key to getting the correct photo. Now, if you just need a lower resolution image, you can download that directly from this site. There's a little button here. You could download a small or a medium file. Those are pretty low resolution, but especially if you're putting together just notes for your genealogy or anything like that, that might be sufficient. That might suit your needs. So that's definitely an option for you. Let me see here. So, yes. So, if we go back to the main page, the next section that I want to talk about is the Manuscripts Collection. Now, the Manuscripts Collection is really fun. So, like Matthew said last week, our manuscript collections at the State Archives are basically anything that were created by private donors or private organizations, so non-government materials. These are just sort of samples of some of the collections that we have. There are pamphlets, there are booklets, there are letters, there's some films, actually. We have a 1912 film footage from the State Fair. That's a lot of fun. In fact, let me look that up here. State Fair. Yes, there it is. So you can actually watch the video here on the digital archives. This is really cool because it's film footage, and you see people. It just sort of takes you right down through the fair. You see people walking by on either side, and it's very immersive. You feel like you're there at the State Fair in 1912, in a way that you just can't with photographs necessarily. It really makes it come alive. You see the way people walk in ways that isn't captured in a photograph. So the State Fair film is fun. Let's see, what else? Oh, patch. So we also have this collection of letters from Elizabeth Corey, now also known as Bachelor Bess. Now, she was a single homesteader in Stanley County. So these are letters to her family in Iowa. And they're a great resource for life, as a homesteader, but also just she wrote a lot about local happenings, like if there was a fire in town and all of that. So these are just really fun letters. It's a great resource for people that you can check out. And of course, there's a lot more material here. I mean, we've even got some sheet music up that is here on the first page. Hail South Dakota sheet music. So there's all sorts of material that you can check out in the manuscript collections. So, yes. So the government collection, so as a government archivist, this is sort of my thing. We've got most of what's here are finding aids for government collections. And we put these up before we had archive space available. So actually now, if you're searching for finding aids, archive space is probably a better place to go for them. But if you happen to be here and you're doing searching and something pops up in a finding aid that you, might be helpful for your research, then, at least it's one way for you to find it. So, but we do have some other materials as well. We've got some circulars, we've got some publications here, like the How to Secure a Loan from the Rural Credit Board, the Save Yourself from Influenza poster, which came out during the 1918-1919 influenza epidemic, which has become a lot more topical recently than I anticipated when I scanned it like 6 years ago. But you could definitely check that out. It's fun. We've also got some videos in this collection. There's the Keystone Y film, which you can see down at the bottom here. That's a film about the construction of the Keystone Y interchange. But there's also some really short campaign ads that from Jim Apter's campaigns. Those are a lot of fun too. They're short and fun and kind of just a nice little snapshot in time of what campaign ads were like in the 70s and 80s. Mostly in the 80s, I think, were those particular ones. Then over here, we've got the GLO Land Survey Field Notes. Now, these are the original field notes from land surveyors when they came through and divided up the land into townships and ranges and sections, all those markers that we still use today in order to determine boundaries and land ownership. So they're actually still really important legal documents. These get used a lot by land surveyors. So it's got kind of a specialized market, but they're very frequently used, and I know that they're very appreciative that they're available, or they appreciate very much that they're available online. Then down here, we also have the Wi'iohi. So these are monthly bulletins that were published by the State Historical Society from 1947 until 1970. And there's just a lot of really good history in those on topics that you don't find anywhere else. So it's a good resource to check if you're just not finding information on a particular South Dakota history topic. You might be able to find something in the Wi'iohi. So they're good. They're good little bulletins. And then finally, we've got our map collection. So the map collection is our newest. There are over 900 maps available. There are territorial maps, railroad maps. Here, I'll click in so you can get a better look. Yeah, territorial maps, railroad maps. There are these little specialized sort of advertising, larger scale advertising maps. We've got highway maps. There are maps of towns and counties, just all different kinds. One of my favorites is actually, it was a road map produced by the Standard Oil Company in 1930. Let me find it. Standard Oil. Yeah, there we go. It's 1930 official road map. And it's kind of deceptive because it looks very normal. If you just look at it, there are no the interstates aren't there, but most of the roads are very similar to what they are now. It looks very, very normal until you click into it and take a closer look and realize that only the solid roads are paved, and there's just about 4 of those in South Dakota. There's this little stretch here near Rapid City, and there's some way over here by Sioux Falls, just right here. And there's a little stretch down by Sioux City, and then the bridge, basically, near Yankton. And those are the only paved roads in all of South Dakota. So you can imagine that the travel experience in 1930 was very different for people than it would be for us today if we were to travel from Pierre to Sioux City or anywhere else. So it's definitely, these resources can kind of give you a different glimpse into South Dakota's past that you might just not even think about otherwise. So, yeah. Yeah, it's also interesting to me that Standard Oil produced a map until I realized that they wanted to make it very easy for you to find their service stations. Otherwise, they probably would not have necessarily produced a road map of South Dakota. But so yes, that's kind of my broad overview of the South Dakota Digital Archives. We do put up new material regularly, so you'll definitely want to check back just to make sure that you've seen everything there is to see. If you're looking for a photo and it's not available right now, it might be in a couple weeks or a couple months, so definitely keep checking back. Don't forget, if you like what you see on the digital archives and you want to support our digitization efforts or, just help keep us online, you can click this donate button. Again, it'll take you to the South Dakota Historical Society Foundations page, and where you can donate money, and then they can make sure that money goes to support our activities. So we would certainly appreciate that. If you're in the position to do so, that would be really nice. So let me see. I did fairly well on time this time. Let me see if any questions have come in at all. Do you accept, Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne. Do you accept digitized photos for the photo collection? We do accept digitized photos. It looks like Nicole gave an excellent answer to this, both Nicole and Matthew. But yeah, so we do take digital photos for our collections. We don't necessarily add them to the digital archives. So it might be something that we add as part of our manuscript collections. And Nicole, as our digital archivist, would process those and take care of them. So yeah, definitely we do accept all digital materials. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about that a little bit more next week, I think. Let's see. So my great-grandparents settled in Tobin Township. Place to find how many acres he homesteaded. Yes, actually. Yeah, so Matthew responded to this one as well. So he's, trying to find out how many acres he homesteaded and probably where it was. So what you can do is if you go to the General Land Office website, which Matthew provided there in the comments, it's glorecords.blm.gov. You could do a search for a patent, or a patent search, and it will show you exactly, I believe it shows when they filed, but it definitely shows the location of the information, and you can use that to then look in the homestead. It's the Land Patent Register. And we've got it on microfilm in the archives. But you can go through and figure out, when it was filed, how long, let's see, when all the paperwork was completed along the process. It's sort of like the register for that, and when the homestead was finalized. And then also, if you want to dig in even further after that and figure out how long they were there, you can look into tax records. You can contact the county, like the County Register of Deeds, and do sort of like a search that way. So you can definitely find that information. It just takes a little bit of digging sometimes. So let's see, Rolene asks, how is a multi-component donation handled? Is it kept together or separated into photos, manuscripts, etc.? We've got a fantastic answer here, but yeah, we try to keep things together as much as possible. So it kind of depends on what the collection is. But yeah, we do try to keep things together. And if they do end up separated, we try to connect them with the subject headings so that you know that they're all part of the same collection. So that can be helpful as well. So you are able to search across different collections in the digital archives, which I think can help, especially with things like that. Liz, I'm glad you enjoy the films. I do think that they're fun. So Yvonne, should explain how to document when using any of this material in research. Yes, so photographs you'd want to, from the photograph collection, you'd want to include the identifier number. You could say that it's from the South Dakota State Historical Society on the digital archives with the identifier number, and that ties it to, makes it very easy for us to go back and tie things together. So. Yes. So yeah, that's a great way to do it. If you're citing anything from the digital archives, it's good to give a link to that actual item. Let me see if I can show you guys how to do that. So say I'm in the Manuscript Collection, and I go to this, and it's just awesome. And I definitely want to cite it. It gives information down here that talks about where it came from, which you can also use in your citation. But yeah, you can just take a link to that URL up here, the permanent URL, and include that in your citation, and then people can get directly back to this item on the digital archives. So that tends to work pretty well. And hopefully everyone can see all of our answers. So I think that was the last question that I see here. So if there's anything else, I will definitely take that now. Hopefully we covered everything that was here in the comments. There were some great questions there. Yeah. Thanks, Yvonne, for coming and asking all these questions. I know it's been a long time since I've seen you, since our research room's been closed, but it's good to be able to interact with our researchers, even in this format. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I just want to thank everyone for joining me. Despite our slight technical difficulties, I definitely appreciate it. We will be back next week, and every week until the research room's back open. Next week, Nicole is going to talk a little bit about our digital preservation program and some of the things that we do, the digital files that we accept, and some of the things we do to take care of them. So in the meantime, I hope you all stay safe and healthy, and I'm sure we'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.